Hi, it's Kevin. Welcome to Relationship Ready. Thanks for coming back, subscribe, supporting. Today, we want the genuine you. Because today, we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. We're going to define what it is, talk about it a little bit systemically, and talk about the ways in which we can combat imposter syndrome so that we can all become more the real us. Because the more genuine we are in our relationships, the more genuine in who we are, the more effectively we can be open, vulnerable, and true in our relationships, and true in how we match, how we support, and how we help solve each other's problems by solving our own in our relationships. So what is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is doubting your abilities and feeling like a fraud. It's walking around going, all these people don't know the real me. I'm just faking it. And somehow they're believing it. But if they really knew, then I wouldn't be as competent. I wouldn't be as caring. I wouldn't be as effective in my relationships, as effective in my job, if they knew the real me. And that's based on a couple different things. One of those is developmental. We start to figure out who we are from when we're born, but we don't develop insight and have role models to be able to perceive off of others until we hit around middle school, pre-teens. And that is when we are most anxious, most vulnerable, and most insecure about ourselves, our bodies, our lives, our emotions, our thoughts. We don't know what we know because we don't. Now, some people in middle school act and pretend and figure out how to go, I know what I'm talking about. I know how to navigate social life. I know how to navigate academics. I know how to schmooze teachers. I know how to work together with my family. I know how to date. But nobody really knows how to do that yet. You just started. You're learning. But that's where it gets established for many people, the imposter syndrome. Because you feel like you're faking it until you make it. And that faking it feeling is the insecurity that stays, that makes us all feel like we're still in middle school. Because we all are in some ways. That's why the term adulting is a term. Is because when we become adults, we do things that adults do. We pay mortgages, we maintain jobs, we maintain relationships, we take care of others. But those are genuine things that we do also. And even if you did them once, you did them. That's a thing. You can't say I've never done them and then go, I'm an expert. But you can do them once and be like, I did that. Not an imposter. But the feeling of not feeling like an adult, the feeling of not feeling like incompetent, that's ingrained developmentally in middle school until you feel confident and comfortable. And no matter what, under certain circumstances, we're not going to feel confident and comfortable. But if we were able to arrange all the circumstances that are out of our control and put them the way that we wanted to, we would feel comfortable and confident. But that's not life. It may be closer to certain situations in life where you do feel confident and comfortable. And that's where you don't feel like an imposter. So our job is to do what we can take control of and let the people who support us in our relationships know that you're not necessarily feeling confident about this, but you're doing it. Because the feedback loop is where this develops from. If we have role models who are like, yeah, you did that great. You're killing this relationship. You're being a supportive partner. You're being open with your emotions. You're building yourself up and building up your partner. If you have a role model that feeds back and says, you're doing great at this. You think you're great at this. That's why people who think they're not artists because they can't draw, I can only draw a straight line, go, I can only draw a straight line when they might be great artists. But the feedback loop, or the thing they were missing, was the role models going, yeah, you're doing a great job doing a straight line. When maybe it wasn't so straight, but you were doing it. And that's how we get better, is by taking those moments, realizing that we're actually doing the thing that we don't feel confident about, and continuing to move forward with those, and getting support in our relationships. Because the other major factor besides developmental is systemic. With systemic racism, with systemic classism, there are very few people who are the 1% who are told they're great at everything that they do. Whether that's in your family, whether it's in your business, whether that's in your first jobs, whether that's in your first relationship. There are very few relationships where people start off and they have an intimate moment or a sexual relationship and they say, you were great. You are the best. You were great at this. Because you're not great at it yet. But there are 1% of people who are told they're great at it whether they are or not. And those, ironically, are many times the imposters. Because they don't have the practice, they don't have the struggle, they don't overcome the oppression, the systemic downplaying of people as women or people in different races to be able to go, you can't do this. We don't have role models for you. We don't have opportunities for you. So you have to struggle on your own. And the sense of independence, especially in Western culture, to be able to go, well, if you didn't do it well and aren't getting the good feedback, that's a you problem. And it's not just a you problem, it's a we problem. Because we haven't provided the opportunities, we haven't provided the role models. So the relationships are about finding the we's, the people who can give you that feedback loop and say, you tried. That's pretty good for your first time. You did that pretty well. You nailed that. Whether you're talking about art, creativity, your first job, financial management, relationships, or sex. We need our role models who tell us we did a pretty good job or did a great job. So how do you combat imposter syndrome? First is self-awareness. Being aware of things that objectively, not subjectively, not how we feel, but objectively, as a fact, we did that well. If you read a passage in a book, if you cooked a meal, you accomplished it. Now, it might not be the greatest, but you did it. And the feedback loop is saying, I did that. And then getting feedback from others going, yeah, you did do that. So that's the developing the self-awareness. And then it's being able to develop the sense of insecurity. Because instead of our insecurity and our self-doubt driving us to go, oh, that's really who we are, there's a shift in confidence where we go, oh, when I did it, that's who I really am. Not when I was afraid of doing it, struggled with doing it, didn't feel good about doing it, don't think I did it well, because that's the insecurity. Because security is based on even keel and confidence. So what are the learning things that we need to take out of this to be able to do this? We need to become aware of what we are good at. And what, not just good or bad on the black and white, but on a continuum of we are okay, we are better, we're improved, we're good, we're great, we're killing it. Because the more we do it, and we do it okay, the more it gets good and better. So know what your strengths are and what you're good at. Get feedback from others about what your strengths are and what you're good at. And don't just dismiss them and go, oh, that's just my mom or that's just my partner. They're supposed to tell me I'm good at things. Well, ask them objectively, how do they know you're good at it? Because they'll have some answers for you. But you have to figure out those answers for yourself too. So get your supports in place who get to know you and your inner circle of who you really are. And the last step is address that anxiety, because that anxiety will always tell you that you're not good, you're an imposter, and you're insecure. But if you're able to push through it and be able to do it, then that insecurity doesn't win. And what wins is security. And with security is confidence and knowing that you're not an imposter. So what do we talk about today? We define imposter syndrome developmentally, systemically, and individually, ways to combat it, and ways to look at who you really are. So, if nothing else, be really you. There are great parts of you, there are not so great parts of you. We all have both. And if you are all of those things, you're who you are. And when you're real and really you can't be an imposter. And then you can be you in your relationship. And when you're really you in relationship, people will like certain things and not like others, but people adore and are attracted to genuine. So you can be with the people who genuinely appreciate and accept you. And that's another way to become more relationship ready. Thanks for watching. Give us feedback on what you want to hear more about, any topics you want to know. Subscribe, tell your friends, and I really appreciate you being here. Thanks. We'll see you next time.